Welcome to a new episode of the Sunday Sauce. I am here with Karim Elsammak. I said that right? I went over this like 100 times.
That's perfect.
He's running for New York State Senate District 22?
22.
All right. Against Andrew Guardinis.
That's what I'm told.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, this guy, he is a Cuomo puppet. He believes in defunding the police. He believes in letting criminals out of jail. And I don't think, Karim, I don't think you believe in that kind of stuff.
No, absolutely not. I think with those crazy radical beliefs, I think they're radical for anybody with half a brain. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important to note that it's affecting everybody from all spectrums, whether you're conservative, whether you're a liberal, it doesn't matter. It's affecting everybody because when you walk out of your house and somebody attacks you with a hatchet or a machete or pushes you in front of a train, there's no political affiliation when it comes to public safety. So
that is
it's
correct.
Defunding the police. Look, people say defund the police, people say reform the police, people say all sorts of things. Mm-hmm. There's always room for improvement. It's good to improve. It's good to be critical of ourselves and say, okay, how can we be better? How can we help our police officers be better? Defunding our police officers isn't the way to do that.
Correct. It's retraining.
Absolutely.
We need more funding to retrain.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of city council members as well who really speak hatred about the NYPD, but yet they take security details. And it's very strange. I don't understand.
It's very strange. And to me, I think we need to focus maybe a little more attention and some funds on de-escalation. That could help, right? I think everybody can get on board with that. But in order to do that, you need money.
Right. I mean, doesn't Andrew Guardinis have a police detail?
I don't know. I don't know if he has a police detail, but it wouldn't surprise me.
I would think so.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of hypocrisy. There's a lot of hypocrisy. There's a lot of these politicians that say they're for the community, they're for people. They don't even live in the district. So there's just a lot of hypocrisy.
I know Brad Lander, the comptroller, has the biggest defund the police guy has a police detail.
I don't understand it.
Yeah,
how could you say such a thing?
Very crazy.
In today's city, every week on our social media, Karim 4, the number 4 NY. If you're interested, every week we post crime stats every day.
I see it,
and that's really important because
today's Monday.
Yeah,
but people will hear this Wednesday. There's a shooting in Bay Ridge today. I don't even know what it was about, but Bay Ridge on the 84th and Colonial.
Unbelievable. What? Or the person that they found dead here in the city, broad daylight, stabbed to death or shot to death right outside of the apartment building, and it's just bloody. Yeah. It's unbelievable. This is a city. Back in the 1970s, they used to call New York City Fear City.
I have a tattoo actually that says Fear City.
We're on our way back to Fear City.
Yes, we are.
You know, you look at the crime stats, the com stats that the NYPD posts, and you look at the stats, and it's unbelievable. 30% increases compared to last year, 40% increases.
Right.
It's
so
remarkable.
I'm going to tell you a funny story about police stats. I actually asked on Twitter, Kristen something. She's a council member in, I don't know her last name, she's a radical council member, left anti-police. She was talking on Twitter. NYPD, all they do is rule in fear, and they commit crimes, and they're never prosecuted. I said, really? So in your district, she has a couple. You know, she has a couple districts and a couple high crime areas. I said, what's the crime rate in your area? She blocked me. I just asked her a simple question.
Unbelievable.
She couldn't answer, but I looked it up myself. Violent crimes are actually up 92% in her area.
Right. As
she calls for cops to be defunded and this and that.
I think it's important to take emotions out of it and think about things rationally and logically.
A very rational question, right? Am I wrong?
Very rational, and I think to see how we got here in the first place, you have to kind of backtrack a bit. Mm-hmm. They released a lot of people from Rikers Island during COVID.
They did.
Citing COVID. Which doesn't make any sense to me. If you're going to release people out into the wild and they go and they, you know, a lot of them are homeless, unfortunately, or have mental health issues or criminals or whatever the case may be. You send them out into the subway system. That's where they sleep. New York City gets pretty cold during the winter. That's how you spread COVID. So we started off with that, with all these people being let out early, violent criminals, a lot of situations. And then they introduced this beauty of a thing called bail reform, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, yeah, I mean, I told you before we met up, I talked to Michael Henry.
Yeah.
I talked to John Sarcone, who are both running to be the Attorney General, and both of them are pretty on board with the bail reform. Michael Henry is a little more focused bail reform, like only bail reform, and John Sarcone has a little bit because John Sarcone is a little older and has more experience. Like Michael Henry's still a young man, and they both are actually pretty on board with readjusting bail reform. And I saw Hochul, she did something. I don't know what she did with the budget with bail reform.
It's no good.
Yeah, it's no good. Still no good. So what's the answer?
Look, the thing is, again, practical compromise. We live in a city that's a very, very diverse city. Correct. We have people everyone's got an opinion. No matter what we do, someone's going to have an opinion, whether it be good or whether it be bad. I think the necessity for reform is good. The idea of reform is good. They started off on the right track. For example, this is me just thinking on the spot. We could say if you're a first-time offender, it's not a major felony, it's not a violent crime.
Misdemeanor.
You make a mistake. You messed up. You're 18 years old. You shoplift. It's your first time offense. That's where the reform should be. You shouldn't ruin someone's life based off of one mistake.
What happens if you have a gun on you?
Again, it depends. Honestly, in my opinion, if you own or if you are in possession of an illegal firearm in New York, right?
That used to be 7 years mandatory, by the way.
Yeah.
Used to be.
Yeah. No, not anymore. Now you could practically shoot somebody and you get away with it. You are. I mean,
I remember on the subway. How old are you?
25.
All right, so I'm 33. I'm a little older than you, but we take the subway, whatever.
Yeah.
You used to see on the subway literally caught with an illegal weapon loaded, 7 years mandatory.
Right.
They said there were signs on the subway. They're gone now.
Right.
All signs are gone.
And well, look, it's the whole idea behind it is just unbelievable to me. I am pro Second Amendment responsibly. Matter of fact, I own guns of my own.
So do I. I have shotgun legal permits.
And I'm for also good training, responsibility, being a responsible person and doing it. Unfortunately, New York makes it very, very difficult. And because it's difficult, people are more inclined to have illegal firearms. That's part of another problem totally.
Right.
But if you look at the bail reform situation, people are literally being killed and there's very little accountability. We saw the case with the young lady that pushed the music teacher and killed her and they let her go the next day.
Right.
They let her out. How does that make sense?
And even so that all the people that know that woman said that she has the one that pushed the lady says she has a very troubled past. She's always been in trouble. She's always been in trouble. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to blame the mental health aspect of it, and that's what's going to happen.
Fine.
As usual.
If you're going to blame mental health, then have a system in place to help these people get back on their feet. Help bring them back. I would say the investment. It's where are we going to get the money? First and foremost is a problem. But I think to save a human life, right? I think it would be important to invest in rehabilitation, mental health rehabilitation, that sort of thing. We're releasing all these people into the streets, citing mental health, right? But we're not doing anything about it.
So I kind of have an idea. I kind of dropped this on my friends. Let me see what you think about it, right? We have all these islands in Manhattan, Brooklyn. We just make a couple islands. We build housing for the mental health, right? They can work. They can have a store, whatever, like a grocery store, kind of like an army base sort of, right? They can leave the island. That's fine. It's not like they're going to be stuck there. But they work and they get free housing, nice houses, not like, shitty housing, like a studio apartment. And then you work on the grounds. You do gardening. You do carpentry. You teach them a trade. Even felons, you send them to and it's just like kind of like a halfway house.
You're on the right track.
Do you believe, is that a good idea? I mean, like what?
Well, I'll tell you what. From an educational standpoint, I believe in technical, vocational, career-based education. That's how you reinvest in your own economy, in our own country, and our own people. You could totally use that mindset and help people get back on their feet, help them earn a paycheck, help them support themselves, help them come out of this mental health loop that we're seeing a lot of, unfortunately, in the era of COVID, by doing that sort of thing. You bring them in. Can I reference a show, a TV show?
Like.
House of Cards.
Right.
If you remember House of Cards.
I've never actually seen House of Cards, but go ahead.
Well, they introduced a work called, or a program called America Works, I think it was called.
Okay.
And the idea behind it was to give people jobs.
Right.
We can totally do that. We can totally teach people carpentry. If we went to any of these unions and we said, hey, help us invest in these people, we'll get them back on their feet. You have a workforce. We can totally do that. We can 100% do that.
What I see with liberals is they just throw money at problems, right? So I have a good story for you. Last week, you as you know, a 12-year-old boy got shot. Cade Lewin in his car sitting there with his family, just sitting in his car. Going to drive by a guy, he probably thought it was whatever. So I called out Hawk Newsom, the leader of BLM New York, right?
Right.
He actually responded to me. He responded to me on my Instagram. I'm a nobody. I have like 1,100 followers, whatever. And he said, you know what he told me? If you give me $4 million, I could solve this problem. And I asked him why.
Really?
That's what he told me, literally.
Wow.
And I said, why don't you come on my podcast and we'll have a mature conversation. I didn't threaten him.
Right.
Nothing. I said, come on my podcast. We'll have a mature adult conversation. He denied. I have the screenshots. I have the receipts. I was like, dude, tell me what $4 million is going to do. He literally had no answers for me. Right. He goes, it's a vicious cycle. You'll learn how the world works. Dude, I'm 33 years old. I was an FDNY EMT for 6 years. I know how the world works. I see the real world. I don't live in Candyland. Don't tell me that I'm going to see how the world works.
I don't want to turn this into a liberal versus conservative,
saying,
but
yeah.
I just to point out, you look at some other states, you look at Texas, you look at Dallas, there's crime everywhere.
Of course.
But you look at these other states, you look at other countries, why don't they have these issues? Why? It makes you wonder. It really makes you wonder. What are they doing right that we're doing wrong?
I mean, I just ask these people simple questions like the councilwoman, Hawk Newsom, and all just throw money. They just want to throw money at the problem. I don't understand.
That's not how you solve it, because then it puts us in a position like now where they can't decide on a budget, and then they all walk out. They don't even show up.
Correct.
They don't even show up. Our current senator, our current incumbent, is being blasted on the internet right now for not sharing with his constituents what's in the budget that he voted for.
Kind of sounds like what Congress was doing with the Build Back Broke plan.
It's a little
That's what I call it.
It's very silly.
Sign it. We'll sign it. We'll show you later. Just pass it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You believe that?
Don't worry about it.
You believe that? Sign your life away.
Yeah.
Sign your taxpayer dollars away.
But you see
your
what
hard-earned
Hochul's
cash
doing,
away.
right? She's smart. She's going to put in that drinks to go program.
I saw
to
that.
Get the young people to get on board. She's not dumb.
She's not that dumb.
She's
not
not
as dumb
that
as she
dumb.
looks, I guess.
Yeah.
I saw that.
If you weren't in politics and you were 25, you'd be like, oh, that sounds pretty good.
Great.
I like this budget,
That's
right?
great. Yeah.
She's not stupid.
Yeah.
So,
and they do this. They always do it right before the season. You ever notice that?
Midterm season.
Right before the midterms. They get rid of the masks. They get rid of whatever. We have this new COVID spike. We'll see if they're going to bring the masks back or not. But
they
probably
are, because the producer of my podcast, her daughter goes to private school here in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Starting next week, masks on the children again.
Is that from the school's
That's from the
administration?
school.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
Children.
It is. It's very. These are children. It's very silly to me.
Healthy children.
I know.
If your daughter or son has some kind of medical problem, then okay. I
just don't like the hypocrisy. I don't like how these entertainers get a free pass.
Right.
But your average police officer,
right?
Your children,
what Joe Borelli's trying to do, you know what he's trying to do,
right?
He's trying to get everyone rehired.
It blows you, and you should, because
course,
it's not fair.
I agree.
That's hypocrisy,
right?
That's hypocrisy. Right. Where's the fair? There's no fairness. No. Where's the just system? It doesn't make sense. And if they at least came out with a logical explanation or tried to give no, they don't even. They're like, nope, this is just what we're doing. That's not how you operate and run a democracy. That's not how you serve your people. That's not how you protect your people. That's how you turn everybody against everybody and create further divide.
Do you remember when Marty Golden was our senator? Wasn't it a great time?
Everybody loved him. Democrats, Republicans, everybody loved him.
Most Democrats,
most logical ones.
He had a bad driving record,
right?
That was his problem.
Other people do
he
too.
Hit somebody.
Other people do too. You'd be surprised.
Marty was so good. If anything needed to be done in Bay Ridge, Dyker, or wherever, you just people call him Uncle Marty.
Yeah,
call Uncle Marty.
Throughout this petitioning season, we've been going around, and whenever we bring up Marty's name, you know what everybody says? At least he was present. We used to see him.
He's still present.
They say, who's our current senator?
Yeah, who is that?
Who is he?
All they know is his dad, who's been a dentist for a long time.
It's sad.
Great guy.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to I personally don't like to attack people.
Oh,
okay?
That's fine, yeah.
I'm an outsider. I'm a business guy, and I'm an airline pilot.
That's right. I know. I was going to ask you about that. Very interesting.
It's interesting, but I put a lot of things aside. I put career progression aside because I care about my city. You know why? Mm-hmm. My family lives in the district. I live in the district. My friends live in the district.
I live in the district.
You live in the district.
I live in Bay Ridge.
Hopefully we'll get your vote.
I'm a Bay Original. Yes, of course. You have my vote already, man. Are you kidding me? I'm Republican. I'm not. Come on.
The last thing I want to hear, is my friend. You know what? I don't want to bring up names, but a friend of mine got killed on 3rd Avenue, stabbed to death. One of my mentees.
Oh, was that at the Mexican place?
Yes, I got him him into flight school. I mentored him. We grew up together.
So crazy.
They killed
him.
What
happened there?
There's so many stories. There's stories.
Was it over a woman?
I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was over. I know there was a confrontation. There was a fight. Wow. Someone left, came back with 10 people.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
That never happened in Bay Ridge.
Never.
I'm going to say something.
Dyker Heights. These attacks in Dyker Heights.
I'm going to say something. You don't have to agree or comment on it. But when the mafia was in Dyker Heights and Bay Ridge, this kind of stuff never happened. That's all I'm going to say. Karim, you don't have to comment. Next subject.
Where's the sauce?
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so listen. We'll just go ahead.
To me, look, what I'm trying to introduce, what I'm trying to bring in, practical compromise. Right. They say scientifically, like a 30-year age gap between people, it's like you're talking to a wall. Right. They say that.
No, it's true.
We're seeing a generational shift. That's okay. I saw a generational shift in my career field. As a pilot, I flew with Vietnam-era pilots, and I've flown with pilots in their 30s and 40s. That's a very broad scale.
Of course, yeah.
You have to learn to evolve, and you have to learn how to deal with people of different backgrounds, different age groups. So I am trying to be the voice of reason and trying to bridge the gap between the generations, because we need a new generation of leadership is what we need.
So let's talk about this. You're a commercial airline pilot, right? Let's say when you get elected, because you will. You have to quit, obviously, right? What's the policy? You don't have to tell us the company you work for, but what's the policy about with the company?
I will tell you this. The company I work for has been very supportive. The union, we're unionized, has been very supportive. And we have a precedent because we have a member of the House of Representatives in another state that is a pilot for us.
Oh.
And believe it or not, there's other airlines. There's a mayor in Texas that's an American Airlines pilot, for example.
So you can still fly.
You absolutely can. A lot of these part-time legislatures you can. However, New York City is different in my eyes.
Okay.
And I think right now you got to be smart. I'm being smart. I'm still keeping my job. Yes. Of course, you take a step down and you focus on this campaign because this is what's important to me. And then if we will win, I feel good about it.
Of course.
When we win, then I have a decision to make, and the decision would probably be to take a leave or step down.
He almost lost Andrew before. So, I mean, what's
these are peanuts.
This is very simple.
These are peanuts.
Just like Justin Brennan, the councilman.
Well, they put out this new redistricting.
Oh, God.
Right? They did that because they're trying to hold on with everything they have.
Because Max Rose is coming back. They want it with the Congress and all that. The
good news is there's lawsuits that are out there right now. A judge is, the judges are kind of saying we need to be a little more practical. These lines, you have to have a seaplane or a jet ski, to represent some of these districts. It's unbelievable.
I saw what they're trying to do with the congressional race with Nicole. Say people don't like Nicole Malliotakis, but say what you want about her. She when things need to get done, she gets it done for her district.
She's gun-ho for the district.
She is gun-ho for the district.
And one thing I'd like to remind people, think about who the alternative would be if it wasn't Nicole.
It's Max Rose. Right. I mean, that's I'll say it. You don't have to say it. But I will say Park Slope has nothing to do with Staten Island. People in Park Slope don't even know where Staten Island is or go to Staten Island. Most people Park Slope don't even drive.
Yeah.
Literally.
It was very hard. I'll tell you what, during our petitioning season, it was very hard to reach a lot of those voters because there's apartment buildings, people work, and people, frankly, they don't want to answer the door, but again, this is the situation we're faced with. So myself, I can complain about it, or I could try to find a solution.
Correct.
It's tough. We're going to have to focus heavily on youth, getting people, and hopefully now that they see a young person running for the first time in 100 years.
Amazing.
Hopefully that'll get people to wake up and say, yes, I'm going to go out and vote. Yes, this is important. Because if we don't do too well this election, we lose it because of redistricting for like a decade, for a generation. This is where a lot of people aren't thinking logically and they're thinking emotionally. Oh, I want to run for office because my ego's inflated. No, it's about the right time and the right place.
I feel like people need to also learn their lesson from the 2020 election because a lot of people also voted for emotion. Yeah. It was anyone but Trump.
Right.
That was it. And now people are obviously regretting it because of the gas prices, the inflation. It costs $18 for a steak. Like it's just all these things.
The White House announced today that inflation's going to continue to go up significantly.
Oh, it's not transitory?
The
really?
White House, yeah. Oh. And look,
wow.
we have solutions. We know what we have to do tomorrow if we really wanted to as a nation.
Yeah.
Right? Even as a state to help reduce this burden on our citizens.
I have an idea. Stop giving money to Ukraine. What about that?
Or what about cut the gas tax?
That too.
What about that?
Well, I mean, come on.
There's so much that we could do. We could do so much on infrastructure. We could do so much to help our city grow. We could do so much to help our real estate, our developers, our landlords. We create a very simple program. We say, hey, listen, if you have a vacant apartment, renovate it. Bring it up to specs. We live in a city so great they named it twice.
That's right.
But you walk into some of these apartments and you're living in like a sewer.
What about
it's unbelievable.
Is
for like $3, $4, $5 grand.
Yeah,
it's crazy. You tell the landlord if you have a vacant apartment, you fix it up while it's vacant. We'll give you a tax break while the apartment's
That's what
vacant.
they're doing in Italy right now.
Well, because these people have common sense.
Correct.
But we don't have it here, unfortunately.
Well, Italy, I'm 100% Italian. I'll say is kind of like a third world country right now. But I mean, that's what they're doing. Like you buy an apartment for $1, you agree to fix it up. Put
Greece too. Greece does that.
Greece, right? You agree to put $20,000 or whatever into it, the minimum, and then you get tax breaks, and you have a nice piece of property that you can rent out.
A lot of places do that.
I don't understand.
Well, that's the unique perspective I'm bringing, coming from a business background. My business background ranges from real estate to aviation to the restaurant business.
That's amazing.
In several states all over.
Right.
I'm bringing a fresh perspective, and I've gotten to see the world. I've been to 49 countries, going to be 50 countries at the end of this month, all 50 states. I've seen how other people operate. I've seen what works, what doesn't work. That people are like, what's a pilot have anything to do with politics? What's a failed lawyer have anything to do with politics?
First of all, a pilot has to be very cultured because you've been to a lot of places.
You get to see how other people
stay there overnight.
I've seen other people's law enforcement. I've seen other people's militaries. I've seen other people's businesses, how they operate.
That's such a dumb
their civics. It is a dumb statement. Some people don't think it's okay.
I know.
And then forget about his business background. They don't even like to mention that. It's very silly to me.
Who else is running in this race? Is it just you and Andrew?
There is another gentleman primarying me.
Who's that?
But he's not the endorsed candidate. His name is Vito.
Oh, is it Vito
Labella?
Labella.
Yes.
I've never heard of him.
He's not the endorsed candidate.
He's also from our area?
He's from the area. Look, I hear good things. The guy is a retired lieutenant. You respect that. You have to respect that.
NYPD?
NYPD.
Oh, okay.
You have to respect that. And he's got on some nonprofit education board. He's on an education board. That's good too.
Yeah.
But I keep hearing the same things that every other elected official or candidate has
regurgitated
the same thing over.
Stuff.
What are you going to do?
Right.
What life, you got life experience. Much older than me. He's a cop. That's great. But what have you done? He's saying I'm pro business. What have you done in the business world? Have you seen how other states operate? Right. Have you seen how other countries operate? Right. Where are the fresh ideas? Where are the steps for the fresh ideas?
He may be older, but you seem to have lived life more.
Yes.
Right?
I think I have.
I'm also a city employee, so I feel like us city employees are very we're not, I'm uncultured. I haven't been to 49 countries. I haven't, I've been to Canada. Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? I'm being honest.
Look, our former president was a real estate developer in his early 20s. He built Trump Tower in his very early 30s. He renovated the Commodore Hotel at the age of 26 years old. We have elected officials in this country, a congressman down in North Carolina, Madison Cawthorn. We have...
He got in trouble.
Yeah,
he said some things.
We have other young elected officials that have proven to be successful. A new generation of leadership is important. It really is.
We
have to bridge the gap.
I'm friends with Joe Pinion, who's running against Chuck Schumer. I had him on my show. He's a friend of mine. Hopefully, we got to get rid of Chuck Schumer. That guy is just ridiculous.
After a while, they become figureheads. No one should be in power that long. I'm not getting into politics so I can retire in politics. That doesn't make sense. If you hear someone say, I'm coming in and I'm going to retire in politics, no.
You would mean like Joe Biden?
Oh, you don't want that. You don't want that because then they become very comfortable. That's their way of producing, money for their family and supporting their family. And after a while, it's a fight for the seat, not a fight for your country, not a fight for your state, not a fight for your district.
Why do people vote for people like Joe Biden who have been in politics for 40 years and then all of a sudden they say, I'm going to change things now when I become president?
Emotions, misinformation, the media, a lot. I mean, I was very you heard about it as an outsider. You hear about it, the misinformation and the media lies and these candidates, they lie and they smear each other. I couldn't believe how insane and out of control it is. It really is. They focus on, they misquote you, they come out, your opponents, they'll smear you, they'll say whatever. I've seen it with other races.
And they always blame white supremacy.
Oh, my goodness. Well,
did anybody call you a white supremacist?
It's going to be very hard to do. Believe it or not, I've been called a racist, which is insane to me because there isn't a racist bone in my body.
But
there isn't. I'm Egyptian blood.
You're Egyptian, yeah.
My family's Egyptian.
Yeah. White supremacist. Damn you, white
Unbelievable.
supremacist.
Listen.
You damn Egyptians.
I don't...
Come on. on, man.
It becomes comical after. It's actually sad. It's not comical. It's sad.
It's sad.
Because
really
I am the least racist
They call
person.
black people white supremacists. Larry Elder from L.A. who tried to run against Gavin Newsom. They said he's the white supremacist, the Ku Klux Klan, or the black supremacist the Ku Klux Klan wants in power. I like, come on, dude, enough of this crap.
Look, I work with a very diverse group of individuals in aviation.
Of course, and even in your area, Bay Ridge. Come on.
The coolest thing about getting to interact with other people is you truly understand what their culture actually is, not what the media tells you.
Correct.
It's funny. You'll watch something here in the news here. I'll get on an airplane, land in another country in Europe and Germany. Al Jazeera will pop up and they're talking about something totally different. I'm like, who's right? Who's wrong? How did we end up here? How the hell did we screw up the facts that much? Yeah, it's crazy.
I actually
it's about selling. It's about views. It's about money for the station. It's so ridiculous. It's about party. Yeah. President Kennedy, during his inauguration, he said, "We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom." Right? That's an important quote. Because it's like, all right, look, you lost, but it's time to come together. In my opinion, I don't think people should be voting down the line one way or another. I think, unfortunately, that's a situation we're in now where that's how the system works. I think people should vote for the candidate that makes sense, that's practical. In the interest of our country, if you take emotions out of it and you think logically, if this person is practical, right? Because you don't need you don't necessarily have to have a Republican that's far right or a Democrat that's far left. You can have people that are decent, that can take from both sides.
Joe Manchin, he's a perfect example.
He came out.
I never even heard of him, and then I looked him up, and then I was like, oh, this guy is pretty good.
Look, we've had plenty of elected officials in the past that were decent enough, that had at least brains and said country first, city first, emotions last. Right? Party last. It's important to have that. I mean, it really is.
Mayor Adams was promising. I mean, he seemed pretty moderate, and then he promised to take masks off kids, and then he lied, and then he's going to fashion shows with no masks on, and then
it makes you wonder: did he start off in the right place, and then they corrupted him? Who's advising him? Who's telling him what to do? Look, there's two arguments to this. Everybody's pissed at him right now. Democrats and Republicans. It makes you wonder, is he doing something right, which is why everyone's pissed at him? But the answer is, when you do things where you're firing firefighters and police officers, right, and you're letting athletes roam around.
That was de Blasio first.
But he's adding on to it. He's adding on to it.
He is.
Overnight, he should have said, "You're coming back." Well, throw your uniform on and get back in.
Yeah, I mean,
but no, we're going to let the athletes and the superstars roam around freely.
That's what I tell people who these crazy leftists that are so into the vaccines and stuff. I mean, I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
Right.
I got vaccinated. I work for the city. Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Cool. Obviously, it doesn't prevent COVID, but it helps the symptoms. That's fine. But is Kyrie Irving going to throw on turnout gear and come save you in a fire? No.
Very simply, I think it's I'm pro-choice when it comes to that sort of thing. When it comes to your health, I'm not going to come up to you and ask you if you have an STD. You shouldn't answer that.
That's literally what I tell everybody. I come up to you and ask you if you have herpes?
No. Okay. But to me, look, early pandemic, yes, we needed to be caught. I mean, I lost family members to COVID.
Of course.
Early pandemic,
COVID's fake.
Yeah.
No one's saying COVID's fake.
Early COVID, we did the right thing. Right. We were very cautious. We kind of shut down. We didn't know what was going on, right? Of course. But then we just spiraled out of control. Right. Look at China right now, right? I'm there a lot.
People are jumping off buildings.
They are, and their COVID rate is so high. It's unbelievable. Right. We don't have these issues. A study came out today. I don't know if you saw a legitimate study came out and said Florida,
yes, I saw,
far outperformed New York and California when it came to COVID response.
We did the worst.
The herd immunity actually worked. Mm-hmm. It worked because look at us now. Now, granted, there's this new variant. There's a little spike.
I thought herd immunity was a right-wing conspiracy.
No, that's called science, my friends.
Oh, wait, I thought Dr. Fauci's science.
No.
He said he's science.
Did you see what he said today? He came out and said it's in the hands of the people now.
Yes.
Really? Okay. Well, look.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, how do we move forward? Are people dying? People are still dying, but the numbers are way low. Right. We've gotten this thing more or less under control. We're looking at China. They don't have it under control, and we're like, Somebody did something wrong.
Do they not have the same vaccines as we do?
No, they use different vaccines.
Interesting.
All over the world, like in the Middle East, for example, if you get Moderna, you have to like kind of find a way to get it. You got to pay someone to get Moderna.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's accessibility. The United States and Germany, when we produce vaccines,
a drug thing.
Right? It was America first type of thing.
Right,
That's how
I know Germany and us are pretty much
right.
And
Pfizer,
Great Britain, we're all kind of on the same
right.
thing.
But they still had access to other vaccines. By the way, they had the Chinese vaccine.
Right.
So, but for us, we wanted to use Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson.
Like China doesn't trust our vaccines? Perhaps?
No, I'm sure if given the opportunity, they would have taken it. But we were focused on doing it, for ourselves first, which I'm for. You take care of your people first.
Yeah, definitely. I saw a video. So my friend is actually Chinese and he has family there, and he was sending me some crazy videos. People literally jumping out of their windows because they couldn't take it anymore. Lines of people getting tested. Like they were stomping dogs out. Like what's wrong with them over there?
Crazy.
It's very crazy.
That's what happens when you coop people up in a cage. They lose their minds.
That's a dictatorship too.
We saw that here too. Look at all the people that lost their minds during COVID.
Suicides, and drug abuse.
Think about all the people that we lost and we're going to continue to lose due to drugs, due to alcohol, due to homelessness, suicide. Look at what we've done to ourselves. We can, and we've gotten to a point. Honestly, look, I'd be lying to you if I told you if you asked me how do we fix this tomorrow, I'd be like, I really don't know.
Nobody knows.
We have an idea. We can start. It was, if you take the pandemic out of the picture in terms of public safety, we saw it in the late 90s. We saw it in the early 2000s, and we saw it in the late 80s as well. We know what we have to do to address the public safety issue. I think the mayor is on the right track in terms of supporting the police at least.
Right.
That's important.
He let them do some things now. That's good.
We're seeing more police officers in the street. I remember at one point in COVID, I took a walk all the way from the Upper East Side all the way down to the Empire State Building. I didn't see a single cop. It terrified me. I was like, this is New York City. I didn't see a single cop. I saw homeless people walking around with like Gucci belts because everyone got evicted, right? Yeah. You feel bad for them.
It's true.
These are our friends.
It's not funny, but it's
we did this to ourselves, and people are upset about it, and people are waking up to it.
I don't think Cuomo, the genius he was, realized like you lock people down. All right, so there's people who live with sex abusers, like. They get abused by their father or mother or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Drug abuse, people with mental health issues. What else? I can go on and on. You just can't lock people in the house. Like, all right, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but like, dude, like, what are you doing?
It's truly sad. There's no logic. It's all emotion. It's
Yeah.
all emotion.
Like-
what is going to pull better? Now, look, again, early pandemic, we were on the right track, and then it spiraled out of control.
Right.
But again, there's so much that we could do differently. There's a common trend when it comes to a lot of these elected officials. A lot of them are like failed attorneys. You ever notice that? They like fail out of law school or they fail like
Cuomo
3-4
was an
times.
AG, and then all of a sudden he turned governor.
And then
right?
they all go into politics.
Yeah.
Enough. We need more people like ourselves. We need more business people.
Regular
We saw how that went for us. We need more business people. We need more tradesmen. We need more and women, I got to say. We need all of that.
Tradespeople.
We need tradespeople. We need more
tradespeople.
We need more tradespeople.
Yeah, tradespeople.
Education, right? Well, I made an argument a couple of weeks ago on a Reels, right? On an Instagram Reels. And socialists want free college, free education, right? I look at it and I'm like, that's a beautiful thought. I wish my student loans would just disappear too.
Why not?
But it's not practical. It ain't going to happen. And they're like, well,
Who's paying for it?
How come the Europeans do it? You got to look at their population compared to ours. They're a fraction of our population. We have all these expenses. We're at $30 trillion in debt. But what I said, I'm not going to complain like the politicians do. I'm going to give a solution.
What's that?
The solution is number one, before I get to the solution, so long as the federal government personally guarantees student loans, so long as they keep doing that, these universities and institutions are going to continue. They're going to be incentivized to increase tuition.
Correct.
They're going to be incentivized to add nonsense classes like underwater basket weaving.
They did this already, though, in 2008.
What did they do?
When the whole market fell and Obama bailed them all out.
Right.
That's exactly what
and they continue to do that. They personally guarantee the loans. And the problem with that is they're incentivized to turn it into a business. It's one big scam, one big business. I've gone to 3 different colleges.
Right.
All the same thing. It's all nonsense. It's dumb. So number one, the government's got to stop personally guaranteeing student loans. Number two, if we introduce technical, vocational, career-based education, I went to a technical high school here in New York.
Right.
I got an excellent education. I was capable of making $80,000, $100,000 out of high school. Aviation High School, great school. Major shout out to them.
Amazing.
They teach you how to, you get your airframe power plant license. You can work for Con Edison, right? Did you know the generators at Power Cities are airplane engines?
Of course.
You can work for Disney and Universal Studios fixing their rides with an airframe power plant. You can work for Delta Airlines, American, United.
Big money.
Big money with a trade. And it keeps you on the right track, keeps you away from drugs. It keeps you focused, right? We introduced technical, vocational, career-based. We looked at the budget. We can do it. We could introduce a real estate course. It costs you $100 in an online course to get a real estate license in New York. I don't know if you knew that. We can totally expand that into a one-year course on a high school level and help kids become real estate agents. We could introduce a business administration course. We could do so much. And you let kids experiment, right? We all know somebody. My brother's guilty of it. I have cousins that have gone to college thinking this is what they wanted to do. They spend all this money. They're in debt. They graduate with a beautiful piece of paper, and then they're like, oh, this isn't what I wanted to go to school for. Now I'm in debt, and then they give up, right?
Yeah.
But if we allow kids to experiment a little bit, middle school a little bit, high school, right? We get them to a point where like, I kind of thought I was interested in that, but now I'm not. By the time they get to college, they'll have a better idea. We'll have a much higher success rate, and we'll have kids graduating out of high school capable of making more than $15 an hour, because no one wants to do that anymore.
No, of course not.
People are talking this about fast food workers. It's a job. It's a job. Nobody wants to do that anymore.
Dude, when you're in high school making $15 an hour, that's amazing.
That's
you're
incredible.
in 10th grade.
When I was, my very first job,
$7 an hour, whatever it was.
my very first job with a $80,000 student loan and all my drive and might was flight instructing. I was a flight instructor, right? And I co-founded a flight school, served as director of operations for a very successful flight school here in New York.
Amazing.
I know how to make schools work.
Yeah.
I know how to connect with people. Right. I was trained formally on how to educate people. Formally, right? As a flight instructor, I was getting paid $15 an hour, if you could imagine that.
It's horrible.
This was a few years ago, granted,
Right.
but $15 an hour. And I was like, oh, man.
It's still horrible.
It was horrible,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It was but this is as a flight instructor with an $80,000 student loan, having to drive from New York to Farmingdale every single day, Long Island. I could only afford chicken nuggets from Wendy's. It was unbelievable. But I did it because I loved it, and it took me far, right? We need to treat these jobs, McDonald's, whatever. I hate to say it, it's unpopular, but I'll say it. These should be stepping stones. But it's on us. We should help invest in our own society and in our own nation, our own industry by introducing technical, vocational, career-based back into our curriculums, right? So that we can allow people and give them the opportunity to find something that they actually enjoy, something that they could actually do and make decent money in.
I agree with you. I mean, I didn't go to college. I became an EMT, and I joined the fire department. City job, pension, free benefits. Thanks for paying for my benefits.
My pleasure. Thank you for your service.
And then I moved on to another city agency where I, am excelling. So, I mean, hey, and I still didn't go to college.
Mike, it's mind-blowing to me how simple some of these solutions are.
Very simple.
And we've seen them work. They work in other countries. They work in other states.
It's 3 months. You could be an EMT, and then the fire department will pay for you to be a paramedic.
Gifted and talented. They want to get rid of gifted and talented.
My God,
are you kidding me?
I know. Well, because
it's not inclusive
it's
enough.
Racist. I don't.
I didn't get into a gifted and talented program. I wish I would have, but that was on me. I didn't study hard enough.
Racist?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think it's ridiculous.
See, this is what I tell people. They argue
everything's
about,
racist.
When it comes to school, they say, "Oh,
your sweater looks racist to me right now." I mean, come on.
It's because it's gray, right? I know everything's racist. I know. A lot of people argue, and I just say one name to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about him." Oh well, some people aren't afforded the opportunities because of the neighborhoods they live in for school. I said, really? Colin Powell lived in East Harlem or wherever, West Harlem, lived in probably one of the most racist times in America, the 60s and 70s, went to high school, and look what he became.
Can I tell you something?
Like, are you kidding me?
My high school was way out of our district. It was not my zone school.
Right.
I applied at the high school, had a very hard time getting it, and I didn't have the grades. I didn't study hard enough, but I wanted it so bad. I showed up for literally 3 months straight. You call the school, the assistant principal will verify this. 3 months straight, literally once a month, begging them to just accept me. And they said, well, it's a 3-hour commute round trip for you. Do you really want to commute an hour and a half to high school each way? I said yes. And I told them how bad I wanted it. I reached for the stars. I wanted it. It got me far in life, and I got what I wanted. Sometimes you gotta give some to get some.
That's what I tell people. Like, if you really want to be successful in life, you will do whatever it takes. You just can't do the bare minimum.
Right. Look, desperation fuels people.
Correct.
right? Some people act on it, some people don't.
And some people use it in a bad way.
They do. It's so sad.
It really is.
Like our elected officials that are with their teeth clenching onto power. Yeah.
Really old ones too.
Right. It's time to go. Just
Nancy
retire,
Pelosi,
Nancy.
my God.
Nancy, come on, Nancy.
She looks like the Crypt Keeper.
You've done enough. Go retire. You too, Chuck.
And what's up with the whole
All of
COVID
them.
thing? Joe Biden kisses her. She has COVID all of a sudden, but he doesn't have to get a test and he can travel around. They're
Who
very
knows?
confused on that.
Who knows? Maybe
Science. Trust the science.
Maybe he's immune to it or something.
Oh, okay. Sure. But anyway, listen, Karim, you gave me a lot of time. Where do we find you? How do we donate? Socials? Tell me.
We would appreciate everybody checking out our social media. We're very active on social media. Karim, Karim, the number 4NY. The website is Karim, the number 4NY.com. It'll take you to our donation link on WinRed. We would appreciate anything. $5, $10, it all adds up. But we need money. We're trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to be a senator for all New Yorkers, for all people of Brooklyn and our district, Democrats, Republicans, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to be the voice of reason and do practical compromise, bring my experience in as a businessman, as a pilot, as a younger person that's able to communicate with everybody. I want to bring all my experience in and help everybody. That's my goal. I don't discriminate. I don't treat anybody better than anybody else. I'm very down the middle. I care. I'm just like everybody else. I'm just like you. So please, in order to win this thing, I made the ultimate sacrifice professionally.
Of course.
It's my pleasure to serve. I live in the district. My family does. But it would be greatly appreciated. $5, $10, $100, $1,000, whatever you can contribute. Our maximum is $7,500 in case you want to get crazy.
Whoa.
But we would really, really appreciate it because we need money in order to get our voice out there, represent this next generation, and win this election.
Well, listen, Karim, you will win.
Thank you.
The guy in power now is invisible, and I heard he actually lives upstate and not even in the district.
I hear like Westchester or something like that.
That's what I heard.
Who
So
knows?
we know you live in the district, and we love that, and we hope to see you win. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much.
All right.